Hey guys.
What's going on?
Decided to go with red today.
I decided to take the face off. It's doing the thing with my teeth again when I do the line right there.
Oh god, I'm going to be laughing the whole time, guys. So tonight we are talking about, his name is Dennis Andrew Nilsen. Now I don't know a whole lot about this guy. He's new to me.
British Jeffrey Dahmer.
Scottish Jeffrey Dahmer.
British, same thing. It's the Isle of Great Britain or some crap.
Oh.
I don't know. But
What's up?
he was actually active while Dahmer was active over here. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hey, Mercy! I miss you.
Who's Mercy?
My friend.
Oh, your friend.
Hi! I miss you.
She's all at it. Natalie, what's up? What's up, Nadine? What's going on, guys?
Jeffrey Jammer.
Jeffrey Jammer.
Hi.
Jeffrey Jamerson.
Hello. All right. Oh yeah, and Richard's in here. Hi,
Hey,
Richard.
He was he was active around the same time that Dahmer was active. Taken in around the same time Dahmer was taken in. He's almost the exact. He's the British version, though. He's the Scottish version of Dahmer. Hey, Calvin. What's going on?
All right, let's jump into this because this looks like a lot of stuff. Yeah, Nilsen was gross.
He did. Who was the killer we were talking about with that was going after the kids? Joachim.
Joachim Kroll.
He did some of the same stuff that Joachim did at the end.
Like eating people.
Well, the eating people, but he also he was eating people the entire time. But he tried to stuff body parts down toilets. That's we'll get into that. So,
all right, so let's do this. Dennis Andrew Nilsen, born November 23rd, 1945, and he died May 12th, 2018. He was a Scottish serial killer and necrophile who murdered at least 12 young men and boys between 78 and 83 in London. Convicted at the Old Bailey of 6 counts of murder and 2 counts of attempted murder, Nilsen was sentenced to life imprisonment on November 4th, 1983, with a recommendation that he serve a minimum of 25 years.
Jesus Christ. These countries, man.
What?
Well, There's also what is it? Is it one of the South American countries? I think it's like Peru or someplace that there was a serial killer that was taken in. He got life in prison, and then he turned around and like the laws were changed down there, and it was life imprisonment was actually considered illegal because he already served 30 years. The guy got released like last year.
Yeah, let's not even get back into the Sirhan thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay. So on the recommendation was later changed to a whole life tariff in December of 1994. In his later years, Nilsen was imprisoned at Full Sutton Maximum Security Prison. All of Nilsen's murders were committed at the 2 North London addresses where he lived between 78 and 83. His victims would be lured to these addresses through deception and then killed by strangulation, sometimes accompanied by drowning. Following each murder, Nilsen would observe a ritual in which he bathed and dressed the victim's body, which he retained for extended periods of time before dissecting and disposing of the remains by burning them in a bonfire or flushing them down the toilet.
He was very much like Norman Bates with the mother and all that stuff. Well, not his mother, but with bodies and stuff like that. Well, I just said it right there. How he preserved them and all that stuff. And yeah. And like they would last for weeks.
So Nilsen became known as the Muswell Hill murderer, as he committed his later murders in the Muswell Hill district of North London. He died at York Hospital on May 12, 2018 of a pulmonary embolism and retroperitoneal hemorrhage.
Those are some big words.
Which occurred following surgery to repair an abdominal aortic aneurysm.
Wow. Yeah.
Woo!
Go surgery. However they do things.
Whatever, they fucked it up and I'm glad.
He was a terrible, terrible person.
I should probably do this. Guys, trigger warning.
Yep.
Flash warning, too.
Flash warning. That's the flashpoint paradox.
I don't mean I'm going to flash people. I mean, that's going to flash.
Woo! Skeleton titties everywhere.
Warning, this video contains super awesome content not suitable for people who don't enjoy super awesomeness. Viewer discretion is advised. Just saying. All right, let's get into his early life. So, Dennis Nilsen was born, again, like I said, November 23rd, 1945 in Fraserburgh, Aberdeenshire. Aberdeenshire. The second of 3 children born to Elizabeth Duthie White and Olav Magnus Moksheim.
If there was a word that was probably the most Scottish name ever, it's Duthie.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, okay, so his dad is from Norway, so his name's Olav Magnus Moksheim. who had adopted the surname Nilsen. His father was a Norwegian soldier who had traveled to Scotland in 1940 as part of the Free Norwegian Forces following the German occupation of Norway. After a brief courtship, he married Elizabeth White in May of 1942. The newlyweds moved to their parents' house. The marriage between the Nelsons was Nelson's parents, excuse me, that marriage, his parents' marriage, this is phrased weird. So the marriage between Olav and Elizabeth was difficult. Olav did not view married life with any seriousness. He, being preoccupied with his duties in the Free Norwegian Forces and making little attempt to spend much time with or find a new home for his wife, after the birth of their 3rd child, Nilsen's mother concluded that she had rushed into marriage without thinking. Okay, you're on your 3rd kid here. What the hell?
Maybe he should have pulled out.
Yeah, and the couple divorced in 48.
Yep.
All 3 of the couple's children, Olav Jr., Dennis, and Sylvia,
all became serial killers.
Been conceived on their father's brief visits with their mother's household. Her parents, Andrew and Lily Duthie, who had never approved of their daughter's choice of husband, were supportive of their daughter following her divorce and considerate of their grandchildren.
Talk about bullseyes every time he came into town.
Apparently.
Just one right after another, man. He's like, that's a hat trick. Came back 3 times, had 3 kids. That's a hat trick right there in hockey. It is.
So Nilsen was a quiet yet adventurous child. His earliest childhood memories were of family picnics in the Scottish countryside with his mother and siblings, of his grandparents' pious lifestyle, which he later described as cold and dour, and of being taken on long countryside walks on the shoulders of his maternal grandfather, to whom he was particularly close. Olaf Jr. and Sylvia occasionally accompanied Dennis and his grandfather on these walks. Despite only being 5 years old, Nilsen vividly recalls these walks as being very long, along the harbor, across the wide stretch of beach, up to the sand dunes, which rise 30 feet behind the beach, and on the, oh gosh, okay, hold on, onto Ein Verokoli. Ein Verolki.
I don't speak Scottish, so.
Yeah, Vice, I wish you were in here. So, he later described this stage of his childhood as one of contentment, and his grandfather being his great hero and protector, adding that whenever his grandfather, who was a fisherman, was at sea, life would be empty until he returned. By 1951, Nilsen's grandfather's health was in decline, but he continued to work. On Halloween of 51, while fishing in the North Sea, he died of a heart attack at the age of 62. His body was brought ashore and returned to the White family home prior to burial. In what Nilsen later described as his most vivid childhood recollection, his mother weeping, asking him whether he wanted to see his grandfather. When he replied that he did, he was taken to the room where his grandfather lay in an open coffin. As Nilsen gazed upon later. That's later. Gazed upon the body, his mother told him his grandfather was sleeping, adding that his grandfather had gone to a better place.
So, it's starting.
Yeah. So, in the years following the death of his grandmother, Nilsen became more quiet and withdrawn. Grandfather. Often standing alone in the harbor watching the herring boats. At home, he seldom participated in family activities and retreated from any attempts by adult family members to demonstrate any affection towards him. Nilsen grew to resent what he saw as the unfair amount of attention his mother and grandmother and later stepfather displayed towards his older brother and younger sister. Nilsen envied Olaf Jr.'s popularity. He often talked to or played games with his younger sister Sylvia, to whom he was closer to than anyone else in the family. Let me go right here. I'm going to look at some of the comments.
Aha.
Hey, Alicia!
So are you guys celebrating Halloween today?
Nope. This
Not
is
yet.
how I look like all the time.
This is how we do it all the time.
Elizabeth Dookie. Duthy. What's up?
His name is Faraz Khan.
Yeah.
Well, nice to meet you, dude.
Nice to meet you anyway. This is just how I look like all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I go out in public like this.
We're in a state of being.
So, we're back to that word I can't pronounce. In Verolaki. In Verolaki. Well, we'll call it that, okay, guys? So, on one of his solo excursions to the beach in that area, in 54 or 55, Nilsen became submerged beneath the water and was almost dragged out to sea. He initially panicked, flailing his arms and shouting as he gasped for air that wasn't there. He recalled believing that his grandfather was about to arrive and pull him out before experiencing a sense of tranquility. His life was saved by another youth who dragged him ashore. Shortly after this incident, Nilsen's mother moved out of his grandparents' home and into a flat with her 3 children. She later married a builder named Andrew Scott, with whom she had 4 more children in as many years. Talk about
productive. Very, very productive right there.
Woo! So, although Nilsen initially resented his stepfather, whom he viewed as an unfair disciplinarian, he gradually...
I'm going to cannibalism school. Oh, I'm out of here.
Well, he gradually came to begrudgingly respect him. The family moved to Stricken in 55. At the onset of puberty, Nilsen discovered he was gay, which initially confused and shamed him. He kept his sexuality hidden from his family and his few friends.
Same as Dahmer,
Because
right there.
many of the boys to whom he was attracted had facial features similar to those of his younger sister, Sylvia. On one occasion, he sexually fondled her, believing that his attraction towards boys might be a manifestation of the care he felt for her. Nilsen made no efforts to seek sexual contact with any of the peers to whom he was sexually attracted.
That was not like Dahmer. Dahmer did not sexually fondle. He doesn't even have a sister. So
he had a brother.
He had a brother.
So although he later said that he had been fondled by an older youth and did not find the experience unpleasant, on one occasion, he also caressed and fondled the body of his older brother while he slept. Class act.
Yeah.
As a result of this, cannibal school, I'm sort of interested.
Cannibal school.
By the way, this chick is a badass chef.
Nice. Oh, was she down south?
Yeah.
We should all get together and cook. Oh, we should do it.
She really is.
I can bring. We can do. Have my smokers and all sorts of stuff. We can at least load one up.
You should see some of the desserts that she does. They're
Mm-hmm.
oh my god, they're beautiful.
I can't do pastries. I'm not good at desserts.
You cook beautifully, Mercy. Just saying. Okay, so as a result of this, Olaf Jr. began to suspect his brother was gay. Really? You think?
You just gave me a handy, bro. He might be gay. Just kind of handy for my brother.
I think he might be gay. I'm not sure though.
I don't know. I better go talk to Dad about this. I think Dennis might be gay. Oh.
Hey, give me a handy last
He
week
just
too.
gave me a handy too.
Oh, you shouldn't. You're awesome. She says she's down, by the way.
Yay.
Hells yeah. Natalie. Hey, anytime you're available, we will head on down there. Or you can head up here. I don't know.
You can come up here because my smokers are pretty heavy.
We have a pickup.
I got a pickup, but yeah, they're the it's not the typical drum smoker, but it's pretty heavy.
So since he suspected that his brother was gay, he was regularly belittling him in public, referring to Dennis as
Hey guys.
hen.
Hey guys. My brother over here woke me up with a handy. Can you believe how gay he is?
Did you stop him? Well, no.
No, I didn't stop him. What is wrong with these people?
Why would I stop him?
I'm gonna go. They turned it around from my brother snuck into my room and molested me to the next day I'm gonna make fun of him for molesting me with everyone around town. What is wrong with him?
Dennis the Menace.
Dennis the Menace, yes.
Damn right. So, excuse me. As a result, okay, so he started calling him a hen, which is in Scotland, it's referring to a girl. So Nilsen initially believed that his fondling of his sister was actually evidence that he was bisexual.
Look, it's all freaking molestation, and he's a monster. That's what it really is evidence of. It's not any sexuality here. He's just a monster, and he's a monster from a young age.
As Nilsen progressed into adolescence, he found life in Stettin increasingly stifling, with limited entertainment amenities or career opportunities. He respected his parents' efforts to provide and care for their children, but began to resent the fact that his family was poorer than most of his peers, with his mother and stepfather making no effort to better their lives. Thus, Nilsen seldomly invited his friends to his family home. At the age of 14, he joined the Army Cadet Force, viewing the British Army as a potential avenue for escaping the rural origins. So, we're going to talk about his time in the service. Nilsen's scholastic record was above average. He displayed a flair for history and art, but shunned sports. He finished his schooling in 1961 and briefly worked in a canning factory as he considered which career path he should choose. After 3 weeks at the factory, Nilsen informed his mother, I need to highlight things. that he intended to join the army, where he intended to train as a chef. Nilsen passed the entrance examinations and received official notification he was to enlist for 9 years service in September of 61, commencing his training with the Army Catering Corps at the St. Omer Barracks in Aldershot, Hampshire. Within weeks, Nilsen began to excel at his army duties. He later described his 3 years of training at Aldershot as the happiest of my life. He relished the travel opportunities afforded to him in his training, and recalled as a highlight his regiment taking a part in a ceremonial parade attended by both the Queen and Field Marshal Lord Montgomery Alamine. While stationed at Aldershot, Nilsen's latent feelings began to stir, but he kept his sexual orientation well hidden from his colleagues. Nilsen never showered in the company of his fellow soldiers for fear of developing an erection in their presence. Instead, opting to bathe alone in the bathroom, which also afforded him the privacy to masturbate without being
He
discovered.
just barges in real fast. Guys, I need to prove that I'm not gay real fast. Let me give you some handies here real fast. Okay? Let's just do this. Get it out of the way. Give you an old-fashioned. Prove to you that I'm not gay. And then be about my business. All right, guys. Let's do this. That's how I'm picturing this. I'm sorry. Shouldn't be picturing this in my head anyway.
So, in mid 1964, Nilsen passed his initial catering exam and was officially assigned to the 1st Battalion of the Royal Fusiliers.
Fusiliers?
Fusiliers.
Where are you at?
Right here, Royal Fusiliers.
Man, the British
in Osnabrück, West Germany.
The British come with some names. I'll tell you that right now.
Yep. Where he served as a private. In this deployment, Nilsen began to increase his intake of alcohol. He described himself and his colleagues as a hardworking, boozy lot.
So this is actually, there's more things he's having in common with Dahmer right here. Dahmer was a huge alcoholic. Dahmer also, I think, on a couple times where he was arrested and actually went to court before the initial murders or that he got caught for, he begged the judge. Like he worked at the Ambrosia chocolate factory or a candy factory, but he begged the judge to at least let him go work while he's on probation, or not probation, but he got released for work from prison. He had to be back at night, and he did the exact same. He was very hardworking.
So his colleagues recalled he often drank to excess in order to ease his shyness. On one occasion, Nilsen and a German youth drank themselves into a stupor. When Nilsen awoke, he found himself on the floor of the German youth's flat. No sexual activity had occurred, but this incident fueled Nilsen's sexual fantasies, which initially involved his sexual partner, and invariably a young, slender man, being completely passive. These fantasies gradually evolved into his partner being unconscious or dead. On several occasions, Nilsen also made tentative efforts to have his own prone body sexually interfered with by one of his colleagues.
There is two differences here between him and Dahmer, though. Dahmer hated being out of control. Dahmer wanted to be in full control. That's the reason why he did what he did. The reason why he drugged his victims and stuff like that. He hated it when they moved. He hated it when he wanted to be in full control.
Hey, Mark. These little damn army cooks.
Damn army cooks.
He was apparently an army chef. Get it together.
A chef. But
in the 1st Battalion.
That's the differences right there. And Dahmer actually never really wanted to kill anybody. He just wanted
friends.
He wanted to love zombies. What he wanted.
He wanted friends who would never leave
Dahmer
him.
had to get completely wasted in order to kill someone. He hated. Actually, the crazy thing is, he hated the sight of blood.
Kind of weird to be a serial killer and not like the sight of blood.
That's actually a lot of them. They actually
blood doesn't bother me at all.
A lot of serial killers, it's when they have to cut a body up, they don't like that part of it. They just want to be able to fiddle with the dead and stuff like that. You know.
And I don't even care how she died. I like it better when she smells of formaldehyde.
I like it better when she smells. I fucked up.
Because I can do what I want and she won't complain.
I want to fuck the dead. I love TSOL.
Oh, they're great. So, in these instances, whenever he and his colleagues drank to excess, Nilsen would pretend he was inebriated in the hope of one of his colleagues that
oh my!
making a sexual.
I'm so drunk.
Oh, okay. Here we go. He would pretend he was super drunk, like he was passing out, hoping that one of them would molest his body.
He's just falling over them, and they're like, "Are you okay, bro?" And he's like, "I'm just really drunk right now. If you want to just get in on this."
Love zombies. Much like Chef Jeff. Yes.
Yeah. You just want to come over.
Ah.
If you'd like to fiddle me for a second.
Suck it, bird kicked her. But she's
Well,
back.
Well, she's back.
Sharon S.
Hi, Sharon S.
All right.
Sharon S. We're talking about a British cannibal.
Yep.
And
Well,
serial killer.
Scottish.
It's
Following-
Great Britain. It's all Great Britain. They are British.
Following 2 years of service in Osnabrück,
Osnabrück.
Nelson returned to Aldershot, where he passed his official catering exam before being deployed to serve as a cook for the British Army in Norway.
Wait a second. Let me get this straight. You have to train for 3 years
Apparently.
to be a cook in the British Army. I honestly might want to give up my citizenship to go live in England and just enlist in the army. I know I'm old, but let's just do this.
I mean, I kind of want to go to Norway.
3 years? You look at our army cooks, they're like, just go.
Oh no, it keeps happening to Natalie too.
Oh, maybe it's just maybe Facebook is glitching right now or something.
It's totally glitching.
Either way, if you get kicked,
Never
come back
get
in.
drunk with a Scot.
They can get drunk, or they don't get drunk. They.
Well, it takes. I mean, no, it takes a long time to nail these things.
I don't know. I'm
because they
3 years
suck. Because British suck.
3 years. Oh my God, Nadine! 3 years to learn how to boil food. It's so true.
I was at first like, oh no, it takes a while to do this, and I was like, I get it.
I need to text that to Adam. I need to. Like, you guys have to enlist in the army if you want to be a cook for 3 years to learn how to boil your food.
All right, so we're gonna get back into this in just a moment. We're gonna go to commercial break. Please stay tuned because we will be right back. I just gotta find where the damn ad went.
I don't know. We had an ad somewhere.
It's there somewhere. Guys, I don't know where it went. Hold on.
New. Oh, no, that's our band. No, that's the band book club. Which we need to
this
start
is the proper ad.
We
We'll
need
be
to start
back.
doing that again.
This is Mikey from Out of the Ordinary, and you're watching PBDC TV.
First thing in the morning, when I'm listening to music and getting a little bit of time for some creepy research, I'm always representing with my PBDC merch. What a better way to have a cup of coffee in the morning.
Don't forget to check out our other cool merch at rootsbleedred.com. That's rootsbleedred.com.
This is Professor Edgar Fluffosaurus from Spooky Tales with Steve the Cat, and when I'm not hosting Monster Chat or knocking down small Japanese cities, I'm watching PBDC TV. Now back to the show.
Mark, what's up?
Miark.
Miark? Wow.
I think the weed's kicking in.
Cup of Joe. It's legal here in California.
It's legal here in California.
Cup of Joe.
Oh. Mark Limbo, would you like to be a new character called Cup of Joe?
All right. So in 1967, he was deployed to state of Aden, formerly Aden Colony. Legal in New York too.
It is.
Yes.
Was it not just happened recently? Like, New York is actually dragging its ass on some things. Honestly, they should just legalize it everywhere.
Okay.
Sorry.
So, where he began to serve as the cook at Al Mansoura prison. Yes, Mark Muss. Yeah, they're dragging their asses.
Yeah. All right.
So, this posting was more dangerous than his previous posting in West Germany or Norway. And Nilsen later recalled his regiment losing several men, often in ambushes en route to the army barracks.
Where was he posted at?
He was at a prison.
Oh.
In the Aden colony.
Where's the Aden colony at?
I don't know.
The state of Aden. Aden colony. I don't know.
Anyway. So.
I know the only thing the British really had going on was the Falkland Islands, but that wasn't until like the 80s or something like that, wasn't it?
I don't know. I was about to read a sentence.
Oh, we're about to get to a taxi ride here, guys.
So, Nilsen was kidnapped by an Arab taxi driver who beat him unconscious and placed him in the boot of his car. Which, by the way...
What the fuck is a boot?
A trunk.
Wait, it's about what?
It's not Canadian.
It's all a Canadian.
No. Upon being dragged out of the boot of the taxi, Nilsen grabbed a jack handle and knocked the taxi driver to the floor before beating him unconscious.
Okay, real fast. I gotta get back to the comments. Mark's like, yeah, 1983 for the Falkland Islands. Okay. And then I just remember seeing the
next to subtraction
adding and subtracting. I just remember like later on being like, it was a few years after that, like because I was born in 81, seeing as a kid seeing like all the stuff from the news with the Falkland Islands and all the stuff. So yeah.
So, and then he locked the guy that kidnapped him into the boot of the car.
The boot what?
Yes. We're not talking about Canadians. Knock it off. All right. So, let me look at something really fast.
Oh, what are you going to look at, huh? Yeah, I forgot to tell you that. There's a lot. It's going to be a two-parter.
You know what? We're going to get into... Jeez.
There is a lot here with Nilsen. A lot. I mean, we still have another like 25 minutes left of the show. We're going to keep reading.
There's too much for 25 minutes, guys.
But it's going to be a two-parter. We'll definitely be getting back to this next week. But let's keep going.
All right. I'm trying to figure out where I need. So, unlike his previous postings, Nilsen had his own room while stationed there. This afforded him the privacy to masturbate without discovery.
I can finally whack it with no one staring at me or having to pretend I'm not gay, giving handies to everyone else.
Accidentally. I sleep handy.
My God, guys, I just woke up. What? Your dick's in my hand?
What?
What's going on here, man? I'm sorry. I'll see you guys later. Then he just like slowly closes the door behind the entire barracks with like 20 or 30 men in there that he just got them jacking off and like stares at him, and all of them are like scared. All of them scared with their blanket up by their nose.
So Natalie says, yeah, I went on for a long time with him.
See you tomorrow, guys.
So, God damn it. His developed fantasies of sex
Sorry.
with an unresistant or deceased partner unfulfilled, Nilsen compensated by imagining sexual encounters with an unconscious body as he masturbated while looking at his own prone nude body in a mirror.
That's
extra narcissistic.
That is extra narcissistic. At the same time, he's raping himself. That is like.
Oh gosh, no, this gets even worse.
Oh.
So on one occasion, Nilsen discovered that by using a freestanding mirror, he could create an effect whereby, if positioning the mirror so his head were out of view, he could visualize himself engaged in a sexual act with another man. To Nilsen, this ruse created the ideal circumstance in which he could visually split his personality. In these masturbatory fantasies, he alternately
compartmentalized himself.
Envisaged himself as being both domineering and the passive partner. These fantasies gradually evolved into incorporating his own near-death experience with the Arab taxi driver, the dead bodies he had seen in Aden, and imaginary with a 19th century oil painting entitled The Raft of the Medusa, which depicts an old man holding the limp nude body of a dead young man as he sits aside the dismembered body of another young man. In Nilsen's most vividly recalled fantasy, a slender, attractive young blonde soldier who had been recently killed in battle is dominated by a faceless, dirty, gray-haired old man who washed his body before engaging in intercourse with the spread-eagled corpse.
So can I say something real fast? This guy, aside from all the messed up things he did prior to this and whatever this, after this, he hit the Super Saiyan level of masturbation.
Wait, there's more!
But wait, there's more! He figured out how to... I think his personality was already split, right? He figured out how to... I can't even comprehend this, but he figured out how to make himself into another person in the mirror and have sex with him. He fucked himself. He quite literally figured out how to rape himself.
Did he
this is amazing.
Dutch rudder himself?
He Dutch ruddered himself. He did. Not to quote Zach and Mary make a porno, but he Dutch ruddered himself.
So
in a Super Saiyan level, he just ascended all the masturbation levels of a man right there.
Recruiting sergeant. So you're thinking of joining Nilsen? Aye. Recruiting sergeant. What do you think you'd do in Her Majesty's forces? Nilsen. Cook and wank off in a closet.
We'll get back.
Recruiting sergeant. We'll get back to you.
I'm sorry. That actually sounds very British and very foppish of him.
A bizarre man.
Yeah. I mean... why didn't he just
hire a prostitute?
Well, no, actually, they did have male prostitutes back then too. So I don't know. It honestly, okay, it comes down to it, with his kink and all this other stuff. Whatever he had in his head, it didn't come down to regular. No matter what kind of sex he had, it was not going to gratify. It was not going to satisfy.
He went way beyond the stranger. Way beyond the stranger.
Yeah, he didn't just because I know the stranger is.
Well, she just said he went way beyond sitting on his hand.
He didn't just numb his hand. He
might have done the stranger at the same time.
I don't know. This guy's complicated, man.
Maybe that's how he achieved the feeling.
If this was mathematician level, most guys are probably at add and subtract when it comes to
it's one of the three unsolvable equations.
This guy is at freaking rocket science.
This is one of the three unsolvable equations. So when Nilsen completed his deployment in Aden, he returned to the UK and was assigned to serve with Argyll and Sutherland Highlanders at Seaton Barracks in Plymouth, Devon.
The Highlander?
Yes.
Did they feel the quickening?
Okay.
Was the mirror his quickening?
I guess so.
Okay, thank you.
Throughout his service with his regiment, he was required to cook for 30 soldiers and 2 officers on a daily basis.
And give
He
handies to
served
prove that he wasn't gay.
at these barracks for 1 year before being transferred with the Argyll and Sutherland Highlanders to Cyprus in 69. Months later, the regiment was transferred to West Berlin, where the same year, Nilsen had his first sexual experience with a female, a prostitute whose services he solicited. There you go, Nadine.
He did finally buy a prostitute.
He bragged of his sexual encounter to his colleagues, but later stated that he... Okay.
I'm sorry. Oh my god, guys, I had so much vagina last night.
Hold on!
You wouldn't even understand.
So he bragged of his sexual encounter to his colleagues, but later stated that he found intercourse with a female both overrated and depressing.
The fuck is wrong with him?
So... Wow, you're loud!
I'm sorry. I'm having fun with this one. Oh,
Are you done?
Okay, I'm done now.
Following a brief period with the Argyll and Sutherland Highlanders in Inverness, Nilsen was selected to cook for...
A lot of dudes.
Hold on. Nilsen was selected to cook for the the Queen's Royal Guard.
Ooh.
Before, in January 1971, being reassigned to serve as a cook for a different regiment in the Shetland Islands, where he ended his 11-year military career at the rank of corporal. Oh, really?
He just
That's
turns around.
sad.
Well, he didn't give
in
up handies yet.
October 1972. So between October and December of 72, Nilsen lived with his family as he considered his next career move. On more than one occasion in the 3 months, Nilsen lived in Strichen. His mother voiced her opinions as her being more concerned with his lack of female companionship than his career path, and her desire to see him marry and start a family. On one occasion, Nilsen joined his older brother, Olav Jr., his sister-in-law, and another couple to watch a documentary about gay men. All present viewed the topic with derision, except for Nilsen, who ardently spoke in defense of gay rights. A fight ensued, after which Olaf Jr. informed his mother that Dennis was gay.
After giving him a handy.
Nilsen never spoke to his older brother again and maintained only sporadic written contact with his mother, stepfather, and younger siblings. He decided to join the Metropolitan Police and moved to London in December to begin the training course.
You know, Mark?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. 11 years and still...
There was a recession at the time in England, and all I could afford to was give him corporal. I don't know.
It means he didn't try.
He didn't. No, he didn't try. Well,
it means he didn't try.
But even still, what do you have to try for? Like, after you're in there for 11 years, you're at least going to make sergeant, right?
He was only a corporal.
Yeah, so you have to really not try, but also at the same time, they're like,
you know the
he has a lot of good handies, so we're not going to kick him out. But it's saying he's also a good cook.
We have 10 minutes.
Sorry. I'm really stuck on the handies part.
Apparently. So, moving to London, in April of 1973, Nilsen completed his training and was posted to Willesden Green. Still a cadet and junior constable, he performed several arrests but never had to physically subdue a member of the public.
So he made it in.
He never had to physically subdue a member?
He did. I'll tell you that right now. He did subdue a member.
Nilsen enjoyed the work, but missed the comradeship of the army. He began to drink alone in the evenings. During the summer and autumn of 73, Nilsen began frequenting the gay pubs and engaging in several casual liaisons with men. He viewed these encounters as soul-destroying liaisons, in which he could only lend his partner his body in a vain search for inner peace, as he sought a lasting relationship. In August, following a failed relationship, Nilsen came to the conclusion that his personal life was at odds with his job. His birth father died the same month, leaving each of his 3 children £1,000.
That's like 10,000 money. That's not bad for life.
Well, yeah, in
73 in England, that's not bad at all. That's actually really good.
So, in December, Nilsen resigned from the police force. Between December of 73 and May of 74, Nilsen worked as a security guard. The work was intermittent. He resolved to find more stable, secure employment. Nilsen found work as a civil servant in May of 74. He was initially posted to a job center in Denmark on Denmark Street, where his primary role was to find employment for unskilled laborers. At his workplace, Nilsen was known to be quiet and conscientious employee who was active in the trade union movement. His attendance record was mediocre, although he frequently volunteered to work overtime. In 79, Nilsen was appointed acting executive officer. He was officially promoted to the position of executive officer with additional supervisory responsibilities in June of 82.
So basically, he was a mess up, and they turned around and they basically promoted him.
Yeah. Oh no.
Yeah.
And he wasn't a mess up.
He didn't have issues.
No. He was a quiet and conscientious employee. He was active in the union. The only thing that they said was his attendance, but he actually would volunteer for overtime, so it made up for it.
So
he was not a bad employee.
Yeah.
So in June of 82,
actually, real fast, there's a lot. I know, I'm sorry, but there's actually even a lot of the same thing going on with him and what's his face, BTK, not Ridgway, Dennis Rader and Dennis Nilsen. There you go. Yeah.
Thanks.
An avocado.
So he was officially promoted to the position of executive officer with additional supervisory responsibilities in June of 82 and transferred to another job center in Kentish Town, continuing at this job until his arrest.
That's insane. He only he moved around a few places, but yeah, he was at one job the entire time.
So Melrose Avenue. In November of 1975, Nilsen encountered a 20-year-old man named David Gallatin being threatened outside a pub by two other men. Nilsen intervened in the altercation and took Gallatin to his room at 80 Teaganmouth Road in the Cricklewood district of North London. The two men spent the evening drinking and talking. Nilsen learned that Gallatin had recently moved to London from Weston-super-Mare, Somerset, was gay, unemployed, and resided in a hostel. The following morning, both men agreed to live together in a larger residence, and Nilsen, using part of the inheritance bequeathed to him by his father, immediately resolved to find a larger property. Several days later, the pair viewed a vacant ground floor flat at 195 Melrose Avenue, also in Cricklewood, and they decided to move into that property. Prior to moving into Melrose Avenue, Nilsen negotiated a deal with the landlord whereby he and Gallatin had exclusive use of the garden at the rear of the property. The flat was supposed to be furnished, but upon moving in, they found it to be very threadbare. Over the following months, Nilsen and Gallatin redecorated and furnished the entire flat. Much of this work was performed by Gallatin, as Nilsen, having discovered Gallatin's lack of employment ambitions, began viewing himself as the breadwinner in their relationship. Nilsen later recollected that he was sexually attracted to Gallatin, but the pair seldom had intercourse. But they did have intercourse. So initially, Nilsen experienced domestic contentment with Gallatin. But within a year of their moving into Melrose Avenue, the superficial relationship between the two men began to show signs of strain. They slept in separate beds, and both began to bring home some casual sex partners. Gallatin later insisted Nilsen had never been violent towards him, but he did engage in verbal abuse. And the pair had begun arguing with increased frequency by early 76.
Well, this was before anything really started happening with him. He did a couple messed things when he was a kid, but this is also now just showing signs that he's just in a toxic relationship.
Yeah,
this is not him lashing out and murdering people yet. Love you.
I love you too. Nilsen later stated that following a heated argument in May of 77, he demanded that Gallatin leave the residence. Gallatin later informed investigators that he had chosen to end the relationship. So Nilsen formed brief relationships with several other young men over the following 18 months. None of these relationships lasted more than a few weeks, and none of the men expressed any invitation or an intention of living with him on a permanent basis. By late 78, Nilsen was living a solitary existence. He had experienced at least 3 failed relationships in the previous 18 months. He later confessed to having developed an increased conviction that he was unfit to live with. Throughout 78, he devoted an ever-increasing amount of his time, effort, and assiduity to his work, and most evenings he spent consuming spirits and or lager as he listened to music.
So,
I'm
we...
going to read this part until we get there.
Okay, never mind. You answered it for me.
So, I am going to talk about some of the murders to begin with, and then we're going to get into, like, the murders at the locations.
We're basically...
when we go next week.
Next Friday, we'll get into the blood and guts part of it.
Yeah,
Like,
so...
it gets gory as hell.
Between 78 and 83, Nilsen is known to have killed a minimum of 12 men and boys and attempted to kill 7 others. He initially confessed in 83 to having killed about 16 victims. The majority of Nilsen's victims were homeless or gay. Others were heterosexual people he typically met in bars, on public transport, or on one occasion outside his own home. All of Nilsen's murders were committed inside of 2 North London addresses where he resided in the years he was known to have killed. His victims were lured to these addresses through guile, typically offering alcohol and or shelter. Inside Nilsen's home, the victims were usually given food and alcohol, then strangled, typically with a ligature, either to death or until they became unconscious. If the victim had been strangled into unconsciousness, Nilsen then drowned them in his bathtub, his sink, or a bucket of water.
Whatever he had to do
Before
with.
observing a ritual which he bathed, clothed, and retained the bodies inside his residence for several weeks or occasionally months before he dismembered them. Each victim, killed between 78 and 81 at his Cricketwood residence, was disposed of via burning upon bonfire. Prior to their dissection, Nilsen removed their internal organs, which he disposed of either beside a fence behind his flat or close to Gladstone Park. The victims, killed in 82 and 83 at his Muswell residence, were retained at his flat with their flesh and smaller bones flushed down the lavatory.
That's something we're going to get into in the next episode. But
Nilsen admitted to engaging in masturbation as he viewed the nude bodies of several of his victims, and to have engaged in sexual acts with 6 of the victims' bodies, but was adamant that he had never penetrated any of his victims.
It came down to he just wanted control. Like, he couldn't, when you talk about his other relationship, where very seldom had sex, even though he was attracted to them, because he really couldn't get it up with them.
He technically did drug them. It was
No,
because he got them drunk.
No, he did actually. The notes didn't bring that up, but he did do another thing they call, the reason why they call him the British Dahmer is because he gave them a goldfish funeral.
Yeah.
Yes, he did. We're gonna get more into that next episode, but he did drug them. He did do certain things to them. The viscera, the intestines and all this other stuff were actually found several times, but were just blamed on like viscera from wild animals and stuff like that, just from parks or whatever. It took a while to actually really pin it on him.
You're fine. It's okay.
I promise I'm listening. I'm just not commenting because I'm trying to wrap up a bunch of work. Oh, you're fine, Mark.
You're totally fine.
So,
no worries whatsoever. So, I did want to mention, before we go, that because we're going to be doing a Victorian ghost story show for Christmas or sometime around Christmas, we are accepting submissions of ghost stories, of scary stories, through our websites, either psychobunnydc.com or psychomantium13.com, through December 15th.
If you guys actually have a story that you've written yourself, we'll read it for you. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm burping. I'm sorry.
I said you're burping into the mic.
I'm not trying to. It's just coming up.
All right, guys. So thank you again for joining us tonight. So on Friday, we will be continuing this story. starting with his murders, getting a little bit more into detail about who was murdered, how they were murdered, etc.
We have a list of the victims, everything like that. So this is going to be a pretty major one.
Yep.
So, he's actually a pretty big hitter.
Yeah. But it's weird that not a lot of
But
people know about him.
in 30 plus minutes, Ghoul Radio, Mr. Ghoul is back on Sunday nights, and the Oblong Box.
Oh shit, I forgot to do something.
It'll be the Oblong Box by Edgar Allan Poe for the
The bunnies of chaos are coming for you. The bunnies of chaos are coming for you.
Good morning!
Well, they're eager to get in here. But yeah, up next at 7 o'clock or 10 o'clock Eastern. Hey, we're not in daylight saving time. Everything fell back today.
Oh shit!
Yeah. But yeah, Mr. Gold will be back tonight.
Yep. All right, guys, and it's going to be another Edgar Allan Poe. That's weird.
Po' Boy
right.
sandwich. Didn't he create the Po' Boy sandwich?
No, he did not.
Yes, he did.
No.
I swear to God,
No.
he did.
Okay.
Only
Bye,
a
guys.
goth would come up with like shrimp on a sandwich.
Bye.
Bye.
This is Mr. Applewhite speaking. There is nothing wrong with your device. Join me here on Psycho Bunny DC. A delightfully dreadful consternation of horror content. Your head